said reception to your books has been pretty good so far.
Yeah, that
but
was
I'm sure you've maybe had some people who didn't think it was so great.
without a doubt.
So how do you kind of deal with some of that stuff as, being a creative? And I'm sure there's some person, a lot of it when you are creative, it's tough to be like, you kind of want to fight for your stuff, but people are going to not like it. That's just part of the deal. So
100%.
how do you kind of deal with some of that stuff?
That was definitely probably one of my biggest adjustments so far. When I was not doing all this as a hobby leading into my debut. I was never part of a writing group. I didn't go to school. I didn't take literature, English writing classes, creative writing in college. So like it was all kind of just teaching myself a lot, but also trial and error. And then obviously I worked with the editor and beta readers and stuff like that right before publishing. But it all kind of, the beta reader feedback gave me confidence that, okay, that was the first time actually kind of strangers read this story and they seem to really like it. Now, I didn't have connections. So for my first go around, I used mostly paid beta readers. So in my head, I'm like, well, do they have to like it because they're getting paid? I don't know. I don't know how this process works, but yeah, so I kind of went in blind, but I took the leap. I published it. And the thing that really worked well for me in the beginning was Instagram is probably my biggest social media platform I market my books on. And I was fortunate enough to just find some really cool bookstagrammers out there that are happy to take in unknown works from indie authors like myself. And they took them in. And in the beginning, I got a lot of great feedback from them. And these are people that are reading every day, that like their whole persona on social media is about reading science fiction or fantasy. And that really helped give me a confidence boost early on. And then another big thing that happened was my strategy when I released my debut was it was out for a week, and then I set it as free for the Kindle version, free for a week or 5 days. It's one of those. And but at the same time, I stacked promos on a couple of like Free Booksy and Fussy Librarian, stuff like that. Those kind of book discount sites. And I ended up getting almost 3,000 downloads to the book. And when I got those downloads, that also led to a fair amount of ratings and reviews that came in, and a few ratings from just natural readers that, I don't know who they are. They read my story and they really enjoyed it. And again, all that led to a boost that gave me confidence. But then I had moments that brought it crashing down. I had, I remember, I want to say I had like 15 ratings/reviews on Amazon. It was at a 4.9 or 4.8, something like that. And I got a random 1-star rating. There was no review to it. And that just brought it down to like a 4.2 or something like that. And it was just like, then you start spiraling. Then you're like, oh no, it's hitting the real market now but you don't know what it is. It could also, they're saying there's trolls out there and stuff. Now I don't know. And I still to this day don't know what that was. But, I also reached out and sent it to booktubers, and I've had multiple. I want to say like 4 or 5 who really enjoyed the story and talked about it on their channel. I had another booktuber who did not DNF'd it. So he was very, kind about it, emailed me and talked to me about it. And he explained he didn't think the writing was bad. It wasn't pulling him in. It wasn't the story for him. And that was another thing that kind of took a hit. But over time, I think I kind of started to be able to focus on the good as opposed to the bad. I was getting, for every one bad one like that, I was probably getting 4 or 5 good ones. That's not to say there aren't more people who think it's bad, but I think probably a lot of people, if they're not into something, they just walk away from it and don't say anything or don't rate it. So you always have that in the back of your mind of, is it good or, is it, but you got to take the good. There's people who are part of this book community. They have no reason to lie about enjoying it. They've now read my second book. Why would they open up my second if they didn't like the first? That was another big thing that kind of gave me a boost. And yeah, it's still to this day, I still get the imposter syndrome. I think I need to be a New York Times best-selling author selling millions of copies for that to completely go away. Because I can have 10 great reviews in a row, and then I had a recent 2-star that just bashed almost every aspect of my book in the rating, and it
Hmm.
just that brings you down. And but you got to just try and focus on the good. This is all books. Happens. Your favorite book out there, it has bad reviews on it, so it's
Yeah.
you can't let that beat you up.
Yeah, I think, and there's kind of three kinds of people. There's people who are going to leave you that great review and they love it, and then there's the people who are definitely just the trolls, and they're just like, I'm gonna trash it because
Yeah,
there's really no reason. And then there's those people in the middle, like you said, where the guy DNF'd it, and it's not that he doesn't like not like it, but he just didn't, wasn't his thing, and that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, 100%.
YouTube has taught me a lot about, because I've been doing the YouTube thing for like 2.5, 3 years now, and for the most part, like you get good comments, you get good, and then all of a sudden you just get some random comment, and they're just like, "You look weird," or "You're," like they just say something stupid,
Yeah.
but it does hit. I mean, it hits you. You're like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, what did I? You get 100 great ones, and you get the one bad one, and you just
Well, I
sticks
think
with
we
you.
as humans, for whatever reason, we focus on the bad over the good sometimes, and I don't
Hmm.
know why, but especially when it's coming to like our creative stuff like this, where we put our heart into and our time into, it's gonna hurt like that. But you know, I always say to people too, I feel like we live, especially nowadays, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's social media or what, we're like there's like this epidemic of narcissism. I feel like we're just everyone thinks they know everything should
Hmm.
be how some people just have this mindset. Everything should be how they envision it, how they think about it. And I think especially in stuff like, booktube, YouTube, or writing, those are the types of people who it's just they gotta say their thoughts. They gotta get it out there.
Hmm.
I think it's almost a lashing out of why do other people like this book? It's one of that one that I got the 2-star. He put in his review that he said he got it off an ad I put where, and for my ad I just used what a random reviewer said of my book. They said they felt like it was Ender's Game meets Star Wars. I
Hmm.
threw that on my ad, and he went on this tangent of, I don't see this. How is this? Like this whole
Right.
paragraph long spiel about it. And it's just like, I think a lot of that is just lashing out. And probably more so people with insecurities to their own opinions have to kind of
Hmm.
feel like they need to justify themselves. And it's not the case, especially in books and writing. As I said earlier, there's gonna be the best book out there is gonna have 1-star reviews. We're not all gonna like the same stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I can like something and you cannot like it, and that's okay. Like that,
Yeah,
we've kind of lost that ability of like, I don't have to be upset if you don't like it.
exactly,
So even if I
exactly.
do like it, it's whatever. If you don't like it, that's
Yeah.
fine.
I mean,
It,
who in their life do you like everything? I mean, I'm happily married to my best friend wife here. We have such different. She can't stand science fiction. She's
right.
a complete horror lover. I
Hmm.
can't stand horror. I never really read it as a book, but like movies, they just never really the horror movies never really did it to me. It's she could sit and watch a horror movie every single day, all day long. But
Hmm.
that's the point. The point is, we're all gonna have different stuff. It's silly to think otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, I have one. Even like was saying about Wheel of Time. Like, I love the story. I love the characters. I love all the stuff about it. I don't like the prose.
Yeah.
I, I it just doesn't work for me. It's not to say it
And
doesn't
that's
work
a
for other
huge
people.
deal when reading a
Yeah,
book.
right. Yeah, you're bringing up your wife. It's my wife and I are the same too. About like, she doesn't read novels. Like, she'll read nonfiction, but she
Hmm.
doesn't like reading stories. She just
Yeah, my,
doesn't.
my wife's very similar to that.
Yeah, she loves it. I love it, but she's
Yeah.
I'll talk to her about a book. I'll be like, "This book is so great," and she's like, "Okay, that's great." You
Yeah.
know,
And that's
so
it. We're all different. It doesn't mean one thing or the other. I mean, I
yeah.
get blown away sometimes following some of these like Facebook book groups and stuff, and it's like all it is people just arguing over why does someone has to go on there? Why do so many people like this book? It doesn't make sense. And it's like, why does that need to be explained to you? Okay, you
Hmm.
don't like it. That's fine. There's people who obviously do. Like that should be case closed. Who cares after
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I think about that a lot too with the Star Wars prequels, because I understand why people don't like them, but I was a kid when they came out, so to me, they're like a big deal. Like I love them,
Yeah, it
and
brought you more into the universe than probably the original trilogy did.
yeah, and so, but when you tell people that, and they'll be like, "Those are terrible movies." I'm like, I understand why people think they're terrible. I understand,
Yeah,
like I get the grown up version of why, but
yeah,
the kid in me is still just like I like them, you know.
yeah.
So
No, 100%. I mean, I said earlier how I love that movie Independence Day. I know that got like critically bombed. I don't know how it does with like younger generations nowadays, but that'll always be one of my favorite movies. It might not be like the smartest plot point or story of a movie, but it's just fun. It was fun to be 10 years old and watching a giant alien spacecraft come and destroy
mhm.
the earth.
Well, and I think the internet is so interesting because we have like things like Rotten Tomatoes now. There's Goodreads, there's Amazon, and everything can have a rating and a score. And but like I don't know, when we were kids, I just went into the bookstore and grabbed a book. Like I didn't read reviews about stuff. I didn't there was no anything like that. If I wanted to go see a movie, I just went and saw the movie. And for my like, I've been so shocked at the amount of times where like I'll go look up a movie that I love that I watched when I was younger, and like the rating on it is horrible. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? It's a great movie or a
Well,
book
that's
or
why I brought that
something.
movie up because that's what it is. I think if you go on, it's got like a 40 something on there, and to me, it's
Yeah.
like a classic.
Yeah. It's just it was such a different time than it is now. And so again, it's like, you get the person that leaves the 1-star review, but they didn't say anything. And it's like, yeah, how did one, it doesn't help anyone with feedback, and two, why even leave it?
Yeah, I've gotten 2 1-star ratings on my first novel. No written anything, and I'm this like I appreciate anyone reading my story.
Mhm.
Everyone's obviously leave what you're gonna leave, but I think if you're gonna leave a 1-star or even a 2-star, you should really at least explain it. At least let the author kind of decide whether it's something they can learn from or not. Because so just my main thing I think people don't understand is I hate the rating system personally, but the rating system is very important because, for those of us published on Amazon, your Goodreads rating, your Amazon rating, that is going to decide your push in their algorithm, whether they're
Mhm.
going to show your book to other people or not. So it's
Yeah.
like if you're just hitting a 1-star rating, you're really squashing the chance of an author who spent all this time on this project even
Mhm.
having a chance for other people to see their work. So again, if you think it's 1-star, you think it's 1-star, you should click that rating, but at least I give something back to,
Yeah.
try and make the person, at least give them the option to decide whether they should take it seriously or not, and can make changes to better their writing off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and all feedback is good to get. I mean, it's good to
Oh
get,
yeah.
even if they just say something dumb like, "I hated your book because it's blue." Whatever. Just having that feedback though is still good to have, I think.
Like anything, you take it all and you kind of analyze and absorb it, and you work your way around through it all to kind of hopefully better your craft and your process.